Hello, brave, wonderful soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that beautiful part of your day where you explore human consciousness from the inside out so that you can embrace your magical, miraculous healing journey of life for personal power reclamation by lovingly befriending the miraculous consciousness that carries you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you being a part of my YouTube channel. So today I'd like to talk about practicing presence and how it is the first important step in any type of healing journey. So whether the healing journey that you're on is a relational healing journey and it has to do with healing external relationships, whether it's a relational healing journey and you're healing your relationship with yourself, whether it's a dream chasing healing journey and it's all about how do I, create this external reality from the dreams within me, or whether your healing journey is about healing any kind of mental health battle, whether it's anxiety, depression, dissociation, traumatic stress, obsessive compulsive, any of the types of mental health battles, or whether it's just resolving a self battle of some kind. Maybe it's chronic self-doubt or anger issues or anything. There's a lot of different types of healing journeys of life, but we're all on one. We're all on one. We just might have different focuses. And so in any type of healing journey of life, the very first step to making progress is practicing presence. So whether there's a habit we're trying to change, whether it's an external habit of things that I do and I'm like, maybe if I did something else, my life would be more fruitful and things. So whether it's an external habit or whether it's an internal habit, like a reactive habit, like something happens and I immediately react like this, and I'd like to change that about my consciousness. So whether it's a habit that's trying to be changed, or whether it's working with your subconscious parts and, okay, I want to heal my attachments, or I want to heal this part of me who's hurting from this experience, or I want my subconscious parts to be able to feel safe in the inside of this body, or whatever type of specific it is. Whether it's a habit or working with parts or healing memory systems, literally anything starts with practicing presence. It all starts with practicing presence, because we can't change something if we're not present with that something that we're trying to change. We cannot shift a habit until we're fully present with the particulars of that habit. We cannot heal our subconscious parts until we're fully present with our subconscious parts. We cannot transform a memory system until we're present with the memory system. We cannot heal a relational particular until we're fully present with the things creating those particulars. And so no matter what type of healing journey you're on, and no matter what type of goals you have right now, the very first step, always, 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 for any kind of healing journey of life with any types of healing objectives, is to practice presence. And what does that mean? How do you do that? Why does that matter? So when I have a reaction, and I'll use the example from my last video about when a bee comes up, my automatic reaction used to be, ah! And my body would tense up and my mind would start going blank and then racing all at the same time, very magically. My body would tense up, my mind would race, kind of go blank, like there's all this background unconscious noise coming up and my conscious perception is kind of not totally accessible anymore. And there was all this fear that came up. And so with that, I can't shift that reaction until I'm being fully present with the reaction, which means I'm observing things as they occur. I'm noticing my muscles tense. I'm noticing that a part of me is really afraid of bees. I'm noticing that my thoughts are racing, trying to figure out the best escape route so that I can prevent harm from coming to me. I'm noticing, etc. And so practicing presence looks like practicing being an objective observer in your consciousness. Practicing being an objective observer within your consciousness. And like all beautiful things in life, it is a practice. It's not something you just do once and you're magically there fully. It's a practice. It's a gradual process. But there's always hope in it, because every single time that it's being practiced, your cognitive capacities of consciousness are growing. Your cognitive capacities of consciousness are growing. You're expanding the gap between stimulus and response, which is where your power is. You're growing your brain body system's abilities to be present even when things are getting a little shaky or a little emotional or a little terrifying or a little dysregulated or whatever's happening. And so it might not seem like much is happening, but that's because it's a gradual process. You're building neural networks in your brain. You're increasing your frontal lobe engagement. You're increasing your hemispheric balance between your brain regions. You're increasing your brainwave regulation. You're increasing your nervous system regulation. You're building these bridges inside of you so that you can be more present with these things that are happening unconsciously. You're connecting your conscious and your unconscious. You're connecting your mind with your body. You're connecting the front of your brain with the back of your brain. You're connecting the left hemisphere with the right hemisphere. You're growing your cognitive capacities of consciousness so that you expand your personal power and have more access to it so that you can lovingly create the transformation within you that you so deeply desire. So practicing presence does not provide fruit right away. But no tree does. These flowers did not start to bloom the moment the seed was planted in the ground. It took a long time. And it was so gradual that you didn't notice the growth day by day. I didn't come out here and I'm like, oh my goodness, they've sprouted like 3 feet overnight. That's not how plants grow, and that's not how we grow. That's not how we grow. Healing is always gradual and never linear. Life is like a heartbeat. You only know that you're alive because there are ups and downs. So, ducks in the background. So it's allowed to be a process, and it's allowed to be so gradual that you don't notice anything overnight. You don't notice anything right away. But if it becomes a daily practice, I promise you, within months, you will notice something very, very powerful. And if you continue it for years, your entire life will change. This is a guarantee and a promise. I've experienced the magic of this firsthand. In the midst of all impossibility, practicing presence transformed my life from the inside out of my consciousness. So, practicing presence. I say practice because it's not something you just magically get right away. It's a practice. You're not just, okay, I am now present. That's not how it works. It's a practice. And so you got to keep showing up for it. If you're learning a new instrument or you're learning a new language and you practice it once a week or once a month for like maybe 20 minutes, are you going to learn that instrument? Are you going to master that language? No. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I've been practicing this for like 2 years and I still can't say a single sentence in this language. I still can't play a single song on this instrument. It's because practice has to be daily for it to work. If you practice something once a month, it's not going to get you anywhere. That's just life. And it's because when we learn a new language or we learn a new instrument, we're growing and expanding our cognitive capacities of consciousness. We're growing brand new neural networks in our brain. And it's the same with practicing presence so that we can be present for a panic attack or present with a reaction of anger or present with a reaction of fear so that we can start to shift those towards what we want to experience. We're growing new neural networks in our brains, so be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle and loving with yourself. And celebrate yourself just for showing up to practice. Don't base your self-celebration on the fruit that you see. Base your self-celebration on the seeds that you plant. This is a big one. This is a game changer. Do not base your self-celebration, woo, go me, I'm doing great on this healing journey stuff, I'm awesome, I'm proud of myself. Don't base that on the fruit that you see in your life. base it on the seeds that you plant. I practiced presence today, and I didn't change anything, but I showed up and I practiced being present with all the stuff that was happening. I'm really proud of myself, and I celebrate myself, and I'm jazzed at how courageously I'm embracing my healing journey, and I know I have what it takes, and it might not feel like anything's happening, but I know I'm on the right path, and I know it's going to lead me to where I want to go, and I'm so jazzed about it, not because my life is magically changing right now, but because I know I'm planting seeds about where I want to go. Practice presence and celebrate yourself just for practicing. Don't celebrate just the fruit that you see. Celebrate every seed that you plant. And what are the seeds? The seeds are pieces of energy. So if you're having a panic attack, for example, and this is a personal example, I used to have crippling panic attacks. I'm talking, I couldn't breathe for hours, and then I couldn't think clearly for 2 days. I'm talking loss of consciousness status. I couldn't see. The world became dizzy. I forgot who I was. I couldn't breathe. And sometimes these panic attacks literally lasted 4 hours, where I was hyperventilating and trying to figure out how to come back to reality for several hours. Okay, so I get it. I get the struggle. Trust me, I get the struggle. So I'll use this as an example. If you're trying to be present with panic attacks to eventually shift them, which I did, I no longer experience panic attacks in any capacity. Proud of the energetic seeds that got me here. Because it wasn't the fruit I was chasing, it was the seeds I was planting, and that was my focus, and that's how I got here. Hope lives. So if you're trying to be present with panic attacks, for example, then practicing present looks like I'm noticing I'm hyperventilating. I'm noticing that I can't breathe. I'm noticing that this thing triggered me. I'm noticing that I'm feeling afraid. I'm noticing this. 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 And describing it inside of your mind even while you can't breathe externally. Even when you can't manage what's happening, even when you can't change what's happening, even when you can't control what's happening, even if you can't change your response and just not have a panic attack, or change your response and just magically, recover from it really quickly, even if that's not a possibility, don't worry about it. You're not chasing the fruit, you're chasing the seeds that you can plant, because that's where your power is. Planting seeds is one of the 10 attributes of personal power, which is a concept I've created from scratch. I spent almost a decade creating this concept. It started when I got a tattoo of a dove carrying a peace sign, because something in me knew, even with all of the things happening, even with all of the dissociation, depression, anxiety, traumatic stress, and other battles I will not describe right now because I don't want to trigger anybody, I knew that if I could just have a morsel of peace, I could have some power in me. That's where this concept began. Almost a decade ago, I got this tattoo and I knew if I could just find some morsel of peace, I could maybe get through all the rest. So personal power is a concept I've been cultivating for a long time. Planting seeds is one of the 10 attributes of personal power. So your power is not in the fruit. It's not in the immediate results. It's in the seeds that you're planting. And always celebrate yourself. Pride is one of the other attributes, one of the 10 attributes of personal power. Being proud of yourself unconditionally. Man, I had a panic attack and it lasted 4 hours, but I am proud of myself for being present with that pain. I am proud of myself for getting out of it eventually. I'm proud of myself for not judging my panic attack. I'm proud of myself. Pride is an aspect of personal power. Be unconditionally proud of yourself. Not for the external particulars, not for the results, not for the fruit, but for the seeds you're planting, for the way that you're choosing to practice presence, for the way that you're choosing to consciously, internally respond. Regardless of how much you have control of, you always have power. Okay? So, practicing presence. If you're practicing presence with a panic attack, for example, you're going to allow for it to be what it is without trying to force anything, without trying to control anything, without trying to change anything. And you're going to just describe what's happening to yourself internally. And of course, do the best you can to take care of yourself. Do the best that you can to come back to your breathing. Do the best that you can to redirect your focus. Do the best that you can. But a lot of these things are happening in our neurophysiology, and those external things are not going to change that. But we can change our neurophysiology, and the very first step is to practice presence. Any habit can be changed. I used to lose consciousness while eating. because my traumatic responses were so deeply embedded in my neurophysiology from 20 years ago. Like, this is a big thing. This is not something people typically like go through, right? I was losing consciousness. My body was going into a dorsal collapse, feigning death, going into a state of oxygen deprivation because it didn't feel safe to exist every single time I ate food for years. And that was a habit in my body that I changed. And the first step was practicing presence. So no matter the severity of your battle, no matter the difficulty of what's happening, no matter the pain of what's happening, I promise there is hope, and that hope starts to grow when you practice presence and celebrate yourself with pride for planting seeds, regardless of the immediate outcome. Okay? And if you ever get stumped along your healing journey, if you're ever just like trying to do the things and you just don't feel like it's working, or you're lacking the clarity or lacking the understanding, or you can know that there's stuff happening but you don't really know what it means or what to do about it or where to go from here, please email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com. I would love to connect with you through a consciousness consultant call. You deserve to live in a consciousness that feels good to experience. You deserve to have all of the tools and tricks you need to harness your personal power with love every day of your life so that you can befriend your miraculous consciousness and start to transform the way you experience yourself and life from the inside out. You're already worthy, and you have so much more power than you know. And I would love to help guide you in your healing journey so that you have all the insights and resources needed to claim that power that is already within you. You can check out my website below for more information. If you're looking for healing journey resources, I also offer a few of those goodies. I've got Sailing Through Consciousness guided meditation, which uses implicit language, the language of consciousness. And I have a video about that if you're curious more about implicit language. I talk a little bit about it. I don't go into all of it, but I do talk a little bit about it. The video is called What is the Language of Consciousness? And so I use a variety of implicit language to specifically connect with your unconscious realms, specifically connect with your right brain hemisphere, specifically connect with your corpus callosum that connects your two brain hemispheres, specifically connect with your unconscious memory systems, and specifically connect with your subconscious parts. And I guide you through a process of, one, practicing presence with your consciousness. And you're sitting on this like really cool meditation boat and you're watching these like thought clouds float by you in the stream of your consciousness, and there's like a whole descriptive picture, and there's like birds out in the distance and like these really pretty fields, and I walk you through the whole process of growing these pictures in your brain so that you have more tools inside of you to practice presence with your consciousness in a way that feels good and a way that feels doable, which I know can be tough. Meditation used to really scare me. So I like to create these beautiful meditations so that it doesn't have to be scary anymore. And you can practice presence in a way that feels good. And then my second guided meditation within this collection, it takes you on an epic journey. Oh my goodness, you journey to realms of your consciousness you have not spent time with in a long time, if ever. And just a really deep, beautiful, beautiful journey connecting with all different kinds of aspects of your consciousness. So that's my Sailing Through Consciousness Guided Meditation collection. You can find more info in the description below, or you can email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com to explore acquiring your own magical copy. And then I've got my Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, which explains, explores, and empowers human consciousness from the inside out. This knowledge does not exist anywhere in the world. And after over a decade in regular therapies, I can say with confidence that you will gain more from this toolkit than from the average collection of therapy sessions. There's so much insight and knowledge about what's happening within your consciousness beyond your awareness. And these are all concepts I've created after years and years and years of external and internal research alike. And these tools have helped me heal myself against all impossibilities. So I explain your consciousness from the inside out, walk you through understanding your subconscious realms like never before using brand new language I've created. And then from this space of understanding, I walk you through how to work with your parts of consciousness, how to recognize their clues, how to uncover their underlying fears, needs, and desires, how to respond to them, how to help them, how to heal them, how to empower them. And then I give you some more tools as well. I walk you through what personal power is, what it looks like, why it matters, and how to harness it. And then there's also a really powerful mindfulness trick called bull ray that I've created. And it can be used to transform any clue of consciousness, and it can be used anytime, anywhere. Truly priceless empowerment. So if you're interested in my Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, you can check out the links below or email me to order your copy. And then coming soon, oh, so soon, I have my Healing into Happiness playbook. And this is filled with ways to specifically practice presence with yourself in a way that transforms your neurophysiology and is really, really fun in the process. It feels good. They're easy, doable things from the safety and comfort of your own home, easily incorporated into your everyday routines, and it helps you to practice presence with yourself in a way that can feel really good. So stay tuned for that. I will be announcing that as soon as I finish the book. So, practicing presence, it's your power. Practice is your power. Presence is your power. Pride is your power. Planting seeds is your power. These are 4 of the 10 attributes of personal power, a concept that I've created. And so just remember that. Anytime you're in your healing journey, which is every day, whether you realize it or not, every day is a healing journey day of life. Know that you have power in practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to always get it right. It doesn't have to provide fruit right away. You have power in your presence. Even if you can't change things, even if you can't control things, just being present with what's happening provides you with power. You're growing your cognitive capacities of consciousness when you do that. And it might not feel that way, which I completely understand. When I was in the midst of those really severe, crippling panic attacks, or in the midst of losing consciousness while eating, because my body didn't feel safe to exist anymore and thought that playing dead was the only way to be, literally. It did not feel like I had power. But as I sat there describing what was happening to myself, practicing being an objective observer within my consciousness, I eventually made it here, where those things are in the past. They're completely healed. They're not a part of my life. They're not a part of my neurophysiology. They're not a part of my experience at all. I never thought that that was going to be possible. But it turns out it is. And it all started with practicing presence every day. Unconditional presence. It's not, I'm going to be present when it's easy. It's not, I'm going to be present when it feels good. It's not, I'm going to be present when I can force and control and change things. It's, I'm going to be present every day no matter what's happening, because I know that's where my power is. I know that's where all great things begin to grow and expand and transform and evolve into what I desire. Keep your eye on the prize. You want power every day? Practice presence. You'll get that power, I promise. I promise. I promise, soul friends. You'll get that power. You can get that power real good. Practice presence and celebrate every step of your journey. Celebrate every step of your journey. If I was practicing presence and I was like, well, nothing changed, I may as well give up, then I wouldn't have gotten very far. But I was like, you know what? That was really painful, and that was really scary, and that was really hard. And I stayed present anyway. I'm really proud of myself. Like, good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Round of applause, pat on the back, give yourself a hug, give yourself a high five. Express pride to your own being. True, loving, I'm proud of you, pride. Celebrate yourself every step of the way. And focus on the seeds you're planting. Don't focus on the fruit that is blossoming right now. Focus on the seeds you're planting that will eventually blossom the fruit. And when you focus on where your power is, and these 4 attributes are a great start: pride, presence, practice, and planting seeds. When you focus on where your power is, you will always be able to grow the fruits that you want in the long-term game, garden of your life. It might take a few months, might take a couple of years. But isn't investing every day in your healing journey for a few months or a couple of years worth having power for the decades ahead of you? Isn't that worth it? Isn't that worth it? I sure think so. And I believe in you. I believe in you so infinitely. I know you have what it takes to rise into your power. I know you're already worthy of living in a consciousness that feels good to experience. I know you are already worthy of experiencing the love inside of your own heart. You have what it takes. I believe in you fully. Will you dare to believe in yourself? I sure hope so. I really hope so. And again, if you need any healing journey guidance or anything, if you're looking for consciousness consulting or any of my healing journey products, I'd be honored to share this sacred healing wisdom with you. You can explore more details in the link below or email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com to connect with me. And one final little invitation. I'm actually wearing the outfit that I wore for my recent music video. I wrote a song called Cosmic Light Liberation. And it's very specifically about my trauma recovery, as I've transformed over 2 decades of severe traumas and the dozens of associated health battles with them. And I wrote this very beautiful song, sang it, wrote the lyrics, wrote the guitar chords, and then created an 8-minute music video. And that is shared exclusively on Patreon, if you'd like to come join our Patreon, my Patreon club. There's options anywhere from $1 a month to $55 a month, just depending how many benefits you'd like to receive. Because in addition to music, I also share original guided meditations and personalized coaching videos for my patrons. And so just depending on how many benefits you'd like to receive, there's different tier options. The music tier is just $5 a month. It's just like a cup of coffee, basically. So if you'd like to join me, patreon.com/artistryofexistence. I share exclusive content there, including this brand new music video. It is total gold, and it brings my heart to life. And just being able to confidently say or sing in this video that nothing about my pain was ever tragic. It opened me up to believe in magic. It doesn't go exactly like that. I don't want to give it away. But talks all about trauma recovery from a healed position, which I feel like is not something that I see much of in the world. So it's just an honor to be in that position of creating beauty and light in a place that even I used to think was not possible. So I love you. Thank you for being here. You're already practicing presence by practicing presence with this YouTube video. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, my brave, beautiful, brilliant, beloved soul friends. I'm thankful for you, and I believe in you infinitely. And I invite you to practice presence by pridefully planting seeds in your healing journey of life today. From that position, anything becomes possible, regardless of what kind of healing journey you're on or what your healing journey objectives might look like. I love you, and I believe in you, and I thank you for being here. Have a beautiful and blessed day, soul friends. Namaste. The brilliant light in me sees and honors the brilliant light in you. I'll see you next time.